Hey guys, welcome back to the C programming tutorial, learning by coding. In our last tutorial, we saw how to print numbers from 0 to 20 in steps of 2. In this tutorial, we're going to see how to print integers from -7 to +7, one per line. So your output should look something like this. So you start from -7 going down to -1, 0, and then start going up again to 7. And this can be achieved using the for loop statements as we have seen in the previous tutorial. Hit the like button now and subscribe to CMTEQ channel if you want to see more tutorial like this. I thank you. Okay, here we are in our programming environment, which is code block. So I've copied the previous tutorial which we did in the series that was printing integers from 0 to 20 in steps of 2. So I've now renamed this tutorial into printing integers from -7 to +7, one per line. So if you have been following these tutorials, you should also be doing the same thing. Copy the previous tutorial, renamed it, and then you have to work from there. So now we know what's the building block. Looking from here, if we can run this project, we know that it's printing integers from 0 to 20 in steps of 2. Okay, so this is a script to print out that output. So now that we need to confirm this script so that we can print from -7 to 7 to +7. Okay, from -7 to +7. So the building block of a for loop is condition, initial condition, condition to check, and incrementation or decrementation, depending of which way you go. And then you have the body of the for loop that you check, and then it's returned until the conditions is no longer true, and then it will exit the loop. So right now, this is what we are doing so that we can print in steps of 2. So now the first things, in order to implement the -7 to +7, first we need to look for the initial condition. Now, initial conditions for this one was 0 because we were printing from 0 to 20, as you can see, from 0 to 20. So which means the initial condition was 0, but now our initial condition changed to -7. So then we replace the -7. Now, the important thing now to check is now the condition. Which condition we are checking. Now our for loop should execute until we reach +7. So then we can then replace the 20 with the 7. Okay, now that is done. The next thing to do now is the incrementation or the decrementation. In this case, we are first going down and then going up. So which means we decrementing and incrementing at the same time. So what should it be then? Now, mathematically speaking, the value of j should be incrementing because we are working from a -7. Now, if you have -7 and you would like to go to -6, what you have to do is you have to add +1 to -7. So -7 + 1 is equal to -6. Basics algebra. So which means you have to increment j by 1. Okay, so these conditions is the same as writing j ++. It's exactly the same thing. So we add j and we increment him by 1. Okay, so that will mean we will be taking the value of j and then we're adding it 1. So right now the value of j is -7 and we are adding a +1, so the value should then be -6. Okay, and then we have to print j. Now let's run this program and see what the output will be. There we go. So now we are printing from -7, -6, -5. As you can see, our code is working. Okay, but then we are not detecting the ends of loop. As always, we have to detect our end of loop to know that we just exited the for loop. Now, what are we going to do to detect the end of loop in these situations? Now, we know that for the loop to exit, this condition must be false. Okay, So when is this condition executing? This condition is true when the value of j is less or equal to 7. So which means when j is less or equal to 7, we are still printing the value of j. But lo and behold, the next time we come around, since after this condition have been checked to be true because j is 7, but we then increment j is now 8. So now the next time around when we come over and we check this condition is then false. We're not going to print anymore because it's now false and we exit. By that time, j is already equal to 8. So what are we going to do now? So we're going to then check here if j is equal to 8, and then we print end of loop. Let's check it out. There we go. End of for loop. Okay, so that is how you execute this simple for loop problem. Now something for you to tweak this code. As you can see, we are printing -7, -6, -5 all the way, and then we're getting to 7. But what can you do so that you can print +1, +2, +3, +4, and +7? We understand these are positive numbers. Mathematically, you are not obligated to write the sign plus because it's assumed already when there is no sign the number is positive. But when the number is negative, you have to write the sign to indicate that it's a negative number. But what if you want to see the plus sign in front of the numbers? How can you tweak this code so that you can have a plus sign when you are printing these positive numbers? That is a challenge for you to try to implement. Let me know in the comment sections how you're going to resolve that issue. I thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to CMTEQ channel and stay tuned for the next tutorial in this series. Cheers.